English is a very important language. It is spoken by millions of people around the world. When you speak English, you can connect with people from many different countries. Imagine meeting someone from another part of the world and being able to talk with them. This is one of the great things about speaking English. It helps you make new friends, learn about their culture, and share your own stories. I remember when I first realized how useful English could be. I wanted to watch a movie that was only in English, but I couldn't understand most of it. The characters were saying so many things, and I felt lost. At that moment, I decided to start learning English seriously. Now, I can watch movies, understand the jokes, and even sing along to the songs. It feels amazing. Speaking English also helps you in your job. Many companies want people who can speak English. This is because English is the language of business in many parts of the world. If you can speak English, you have more chances to get a good job or even travel for work. I once met someone who worked for an international company. They told me that speaking English helped them meet clients from other countries. They were proud to use their English to talk about their work and help the company. Traveling is another reason why English is important. Imagine going to a new country where nobody speaks your language. It can be very hard to ask for help or even order food. But if you know English, it is easier. Many people around the world understand basic English, so you can use it to find your way, ask for directions, or make new friends. I remember visiting a beautiful place where nobody spoke my language. I used my English to talk to the hotel staff and even asked for tips on where to eat. It made my trip much better. English also helps you learn new things. Most of the information on the internet is in English. If you can read English, you can learn about anything you are curious about. Whether it is about science, cooking, or a new hobby, English gives you access to a world of knowledge. I love reading about different cultures and watching videos in English. It feels like the whole world is open to me. Sometimes people feel scared to start learning English because they think it is too hard, but I always tell them that every step counts. Even learning a few words can make a big difference. For example, words like hello, thank you, and please can help you in so many situations. One day, I saw a traveler who only knew a few English words, but they used them to ask for help. It worked, and they were able to find what they needed. Learning English can also be fun. You can listen to songs, watch funny videos, and play games all in English. When you enjoy the process, it doesn't feel like work. I remember when I started to learn English through music. I would listen to my favorite songs, write down the lyrics, and try to sing along. It made learning so much fun, and I didn't even realize how much I was improving. Speaking English opens many doors. It helps you connect with people, explore the world, and learn new things. Every word you learn, every sentence you practice, brings you closer to understanding and being understood. English is not just a language. It is a key to new experiences and opportunities. When you speak English, you become a part of something bigger, a global community where everyone can share and learn from each other. When I started learning English, I was very excited. But after a few days, I noticed something important. Learning a language takes time and practice. You cannot wake up one day and speak English perfectly. It is something you need to work on every day. At first, this seemed difficult, But then I realized that practice could be fun and simple. Practicing English every day is the best way to get better. Even if you only practice for 10 or 15 minutes, it helps. I like to start my day with a simple conversation. I talk to myself in English. For example, when I wake up, I say, "Good morning. Today will be a great day." When I brush my teeth, I say, "I am brushing my teeth now." It may sound funny, but this small habit made a big difference for me. Sometimes I practice English with friends. If you have someone who also wants to learn English, it's great to practice together. We ask each other simple questions like, "What did you do yesterday?" or "What will you eat today?" We try to answer in English, even if we make mistakes. Practicing with a friend is helpful because you learn together and it feels less scary. You can also practice alone. Talking to yourself is a good way to improve. For example, I look around my room and say what I see. This is a chair. This is a table. My book is on the table. These sentences are simple, but they help me feel more confident. Confidence is important because when you feel good about speaking, you want to practice more. When I practice English, I also like to use my imagination. Sometimes I pretend I am in a store and say things like, "Excuse me, how much is this?" Or, "I would like to buy this, please." Pretending helps me get ready for real situations. So, when I went to a store in an English-speaking country, I already knew what to say. Listening is another way I practice. Listening to English helps you learn how words sound and how people talk. I love listening to English songs. I sing along to my favorite songs, even if I don't know all the words. It's fun, and it helps me learn new words. Watching movies or short videos in English is also very helpful. I watch with subtitles, so I can read and listen at the same time. This helped me understand how people say words in real life. If you are enjoying this story, subscribe to our channel to learn more tips like this. It's a fun way to keep improving your English. Practicing doesn't always mean speaking. Reading out loud is another great way to practice. I choose a simple book or even a children's book and read the sentences slowly. I try to say the words clearly and imagine I am reading to someone. Sometimes I read to my pet. It makes me feel less shy and helps me practice saying the words. Mistakes are part of the process. I used to feel embarrassed when I made mistakes, but now I understand that mistakes are how we learn. Every time I say a word wrong, I remember it better the next time. For example, I once said beach incorrectly and my friend laughed. They explained the correct pronunciation, and now I never forget it. So, do not be afraid to try, even if you make mistakes. Practicing English every day can be as simple as talking about your day, singing your favorite songs, or reading a book out loud. It's all about using English in small ways that feel natural. The more you practice, the better you will get. Remember, every small effort you make today will bring you closer to speaking English confidently tomorrow. When I began learning English, I thought speaking was the most important skill. But soon, I learned something very valuable. Listening is just as important, if not more. Listening to English every day can help you improve your vocabulary, understand how sentences are formed, and learn the correct pronunciation of words. At first, listening felt difficult. People spoke so fast, and I couldn't understand most of what they said, but I decided not to give up. I started with small, easy steps. For example, I listened to English songs. Music is a wonderful way to enjoy learning. I chose songs with clear and simple lyrics like Twinkle, Twinkle, Little Star or Happy Birthday. As I listened, I tried to sing along. It wasn't perfect, but it was fun. Little by little, I could understand more. Movies and TV shows became another way for me to practice listening. I remember watching a movie with subtitles in my language. This helped me match the words I heard with their meanings. Later, I switched to English subtitles. It was like a game reading and listening at the same time. Over time, I didn't need subtitles anymore for simpler shows. One of my favorite ways to practice listening was with short videos on the internet. These videos were usually about things I liked, such as animals, cooking, or travel. The speakers used everyday English, and I could pause and replay parts I didn't understand. This helped me focus on tricky words and learn at my own speed. Listening also taught me about the rhythm of English. Every language has a certain flow, and English is no different. For example, native speakers often connect words when they speak. Instead of saying, "What are you doing?" very slowly they say, "What you're doing." It was interesting to notice these small changes and try to copy them when I spoke. If you're learning English, I recommend listening to real conversations. You don't always need to understand everything. The important thing is to hear how people talk. I used to sit in a park and listen to tourists speaking English. Sometimes I caught a few words or phrases like, "Can you help me?" or "Where is the bus stop?" These small moments of understanding gave me confidence to keep learning. Listening to English radio is also a great way to practice. When I first started, I listened to weather reports or simple news stories because the speakers talked slowly and clearly. I wrote down new words I heard and looked them up later. Over time, I added podcasts and audiobooks to my routine. Even if I didn't understand everything, I kept listening. My brain slowly got used to the sounds of English. If you want to make listening part of your daily life, you can start small. For example, listen to an English song on your way to work or watch a short video before bed. Even 10 minutes a day can make a big difference. The key is to listen regularly and enjoy the process. Listening is more than just hearing words. It's about understanding how people communicate. When you listen carefully, you can learn how to answer questions, use expressions, and improve your pronunciation. For example, when someone says, "How's it going?" you know it means, "How are you?" Listening teaches you these small but important details. One day, while watching a TV show, I realized I could understand a full conversation without subtitles. It was such a proud moment for me. That experience reminded me of the power of listening and how it can open doors to understanding and speaking English more fluently. So, grab your headphones, find something you enjoy, and start listening. Every sound, every word, and every sentence brings you closer to becoming a better English speaker. When I first started learning English, I didn't think reading and writing would help me speak better. I thought speaking was only about talking and listening. But I was wrong. Reading and writing are powerful tools for learning how to form sentences, use new words, and express ideas clearly. Reading in English can be fun and simple. I started with children's books. They use easy words and short sentences, which made them perfect for a beginner like me. I remember reading a book about a dog and its adventures. The sentences were short, like, the dog runs, the dog plays, the dog sleeps. It was easy to understand, and it gave me confidence. Another thing I enjoyed was reading newspapers or magazines. They often have short articles about interesting topics like sports, movies, or travel. I read slowly, and when I found a new word, I wrote it down in a notebook. Later, I looked up the meaning and practiced using it in sentences. For example, when I learned the word delicious, I wrote, "The cake is delicious," and said it out loud. This helped me remember the word and how to use it. Reading out loud became one of my favorite activities. When I read aloud, I could hear how the words sounded, and I could practice my pronunciation. It felt like I was practicing speaking, even though I was reading. Sometimes I stood in front of a mirror and pretended to give a speech. This made me feel more comfortable speaking English. Writing is another important skill for improving your speaking. When you write, you think about how to form sentences and use words correctly. I started by writing a diary in English. Every day, I wrote a few sentences about my day, like, "Today, I went to the park. The weather was sunny. I had ice cream with my friend." It was simple, but it helped me practice making sentences. I also tried writing letters to imaginary friends. For example, I wrote, "Dear friend, how are you? I hope you are happy." Today, I learned a new word, amazing. It is amazing to learn English. Writing letters was a fun way to practice, and I could use my imagination. Sometimes I wrote short stories. They didn't have to be long or complicated. One story I wrote was about a cat that wanted to fly. I wrote sentences like, "The cat looks at the birds. The cat jumps. The cat cannot fly. The cat is sad." Writing these stories helped me use new words and practice putting my ideas into English sentences. Reading and writing also helped me learn grammar. When I read books, I noticed how sentences were formed. For example, I learned that in English we say, "I like apples," not "I apples like." Writing helped me practice this. When I made mistakes, I corrected them and learned from them. One tip I learned was to write things I needed in English. For example, I wrote my shopping list in English: milk, bread, eggs, cheese. I also wrote reminders like, "Call Mom at 5 p.m. Using English in daily tasks made it easier to practice and remember. If you're enjoying this content, subscribe to our channel for more tips and stories to help you learn English. Another thing I tried was reading and writing with a partner. My friend and I took turns reading a book out loud. Then, we wrote a short story together. It was fun to share ideas and correct each other's mistakes. Working with a partner made learning feel less like work and more like a game. Reading and writing are great ways to build your English skills. They help you learn new words, understand grammar, and practice forming sentences. The best part is that you can do them at your own pace. Whether you read a book, write a story, or even send a text message in English, every little bit helps you improve. When I started speaking English, I was afraid of making mistakes. I thought people would laugh at me or not understand what I was trying to say. But one day, a teacher told me something very important. Making mistakes is a part of learning. If you don't make mistakes, you don't learn. This changed the way I looked at speaking English. Mistakes are not bad. They are signs that you are trying. Every time you say something wrong, you have an opportunity to learn and get better. I remember one time I said, I have 3 brothers and 1 sister. But I only have 2 brothers. My friend corrected me, and we both laughed. Now, I always remember to count carefully before I speak. Confidence is key when you are learning to speak English. At first, I felt very shy. I worried about saying something wrong, so I didn't speak much. But then I realized the more I speak, the better I get. Even if I make mistakes, people usually understand what I mean. Most of the time, they are kind and happy to help. One thing that helped me build confidence was practicing in front of a mirror. I would look at myself and say things like, "Hello, how are you today?" Or, "I am learning English and I am doing my best." Watching myself speak made me feel more comfortable. It was like having a conversation with a friend, except the friend was me. Another thing I did was to start with small, simple sentences. Instead of trying to say something long and complicated, I practiced short phrases like, "I like apples," or "The weather is nice today." These small successes made me feel good and encouraged me to keep trying. Listening to English speakers also gave me confidence. I noticed that even native speakers sometimes pause, make mistakes, or repeat themselves when they talk. This made me realize that speaking perfectly all the time is not necessary. What's important is to communicate and share your thoughts. If you're finding these tips helpful, don't forget to subscribe to our channel for more lessons and stories that make learning English easy and fun. Another way to feel more confident is to speak with friends or family members who are also learning English. When you practice together, it feels safe. You know that everyone is learning, and it's okay to make mistakes. I used to practice with a friend, and we laughed a lot when we said something wrong. Those moments made learning fun and less stressful. It's also important to remember that learning a language takes time. You don't have to be perfect right away. Even small steps are progress. For example, one day, I practiced saying thank you in different situations. I said it to the bus driver, the cashier, and my teacher. Each time, I felt more comfortable and confident. Thinking in English can also help you overcome mistakes. When you think in your own language and then translate into English, it can be confusing. But if you try to think directly in English, your sentences will come out more naturally. For example, when I feel hungry, I think, "I am hungry," instead of translating from my native language. This simple change made speaking easier for me. The most important thing is to keep trying. Even if you feel nervous or make mistakes, don't give up. Remember that every time you practice, you are getting better. Confidence doesn't come all at once. It grows little by little with every word you say and every sentence you try. Mistakes are your friends in learning English. They show you where you can improve and help you become stronger. When you embrace your mistakes and speak with confidence, you will find that learning English becomes a lot more enjoyable. Learning English doesn't have to be boring or difficult. With today's technology, you can make learning exciting and fun. When I first started using apps and online tools to practice English, I was amazed at how many options there were. These tools made learning easier and gave me the chance to improve my skills in a way that felt like playing a game. One of my favorite tools was a language learning app. It helped me learn new words every day. The app had pictures, games, and even pronunciation exercises. Every time I completed a level, I felt proud of my progress. The app also sent me daily reminders, so I didn't forget to practice. Learning became a habit that I looked forward to every day. Videos on YouTube were another big help. I found channels that taught English with short and simple lessons. Some videos used fun stories, and others explained grammar rules in a way that was easy to understand. I would watch a video, pause it, and repeat what the speaker said. It felt like having a private teacher at home. Another fun way to practice was through English games. I played word games like crossword puzzles and matching games. These games helped me learn vocabulary and spelling. Sometimes I played online with other learners, which made it even more enjoyable. Competing with friends to see who could guess the most words was a fun way to stay motivated. Listening to podcasts also became part of my routine. There are podcasts for every interest: music, travel, cooking, and more. I chose podcasts with slow and clear speech so I could understand. I liked to listen while doing other activities like cooking or exercising. It felt like learning without extra effort. If you're enjoying this journey, make sure to subscribe to our channel for more tips and resources to make learning English fun and exciting. Social media platforms like Instagram and TikTok also helped me. Many teachers and learners share short videos with tips, new words, and fun challenges. I followed accounts that posted word of the day or simple grammar tricks. These small lessons added up and helped me improve over time. Technology also gave me the chance to connect with people from around the world. I joined online language exchange programs where I could talk to native speakers. Sometimes we chatted through text, and other times we used video calls. These conversations taught me real-life English and gave me confidence to speak with others. Music apps became a big part of my learning. I created playlists of English songs and sang along while reading the lyrics. Singing helped me practice pronunciation and learn new expressions. It didn't feel like studying, it was just fun. Even video games can help you learn English. Many games have instructions, stories, and conversations in English. Playing these games taught me new words and how to use them in context. I remember playing a game where I had to follow directions in English to complete missions. It was exciting and educational at the same time. One great thing about technology is that you can learn anywhere. Whether you're at home, on a bus, or waiting in line, you can use your phone to practice English. With apps, videos, and online courses, there's always a way to fit learning into your day. Technology has made learning English more accessible and enjoyable. It's like having a whole classroom in your pocket. With so many tools and resources available, there's something for everyone. The key is to explore and find the ones that work best for you. When you combine learning with fun, you'll be surprised at how quickly you improve. Speaking English becomes much easier when you practice with people. Learning alone is helpful, but having conversations with others takes your skills to the next level. When I started speaking English with friends, teachers, and even strangers, I realized how much faster I was improving. Real-life practice showed me how English is used naturally, and it made me feel more confident. The first time I practiced with someone, I felt very nervous. I didn't want to make mistakes or say something wrong. But the person I spoke with was kind and patient. They listened carefully, helped me with new words, and encouraged me to keep going. That experience taught me that most people are happy to help when they see you trying to learn. If you have friends or family members who speak English, ask them to practice with you. Start with simple conversations, like talking about your day or asking questions. For example, you can say, "What did you do today?" Or, "What is your favorite food?" These small conversations help you get comfortable speaking English. Joining an English class is also a great way to practice. In class, you can meet other learners who are just like you. Everyone makes mistakes and learns together. My teacher often paired us with classmates for speaking exercises. We practiced ordering food at a restaurant, asking for directions, and other real-life situations. These exercises helped me feel prepared for conversations outside the classroom. One of the best things I did was join an English-speaking club. These clubs are a fantastic place to meet new people and practice speaking. In my club, we played games, acted out short plays, and had group discussions. Everyone was supportive, and it felt like a safe space to speak without fear of judgment. If there's a club in your area, I highly recommend joining it. If you're enjoying these tips, don't forget to subscribe to our channel for more ideas and inspiration to help you on your English learning journey. Real-life situations are excellent opportunities to practice English. For example, when I traveled to an English-speaking country, I used every chance to speak. I ordered food at restaurants, asked for directions, and talked to shopkeepers. At first, I felt shy, but the more I practiced, the easier it became. One time, I even started a conversation with someone on a train. They told me about their city, and I shared a little about my own. It was a wonderful experience. Even if you can't travel, you can create similar situations at home. Pretend you're in a store and practice saying things like, "Excuse me, how much is this?" Or, "Can I pay with a card?" These small exercises prepare you for real conversations. You can also practice with friends by role-playing different scenarios. Online communities are another great way to connect with people who speak English. I joined a group where learners shared their progress and helped each other. We practiced through text and video chats. Talking to people from different countries not only improved my English, but also taught me about their cultures. Making English-speaking friends is a wonderful way to practice. When you have friends who speak English, you use the language naturally. You can talk about hobbies, share stories, and learn from each other. I once made a friend who taught me how to say difficult words, and I helped them learn phrases in my language. It was a great exchange. Real-life practice is powerful because it teaches you how to think quickly in English. When you're in a conversation, you don't have time to translate everything in your head. Over time, your brain gets used to thinking in English, and speaking becomes much easier. Every conversation, no matter how small, helps you grow. Practicing with people and in real-life situations is one of the best ways to improve your English. It builds your confidence, teaches you how to use the language naturally, and helps you connect with others. The more you practice, the closer you get to becoming a fluent speaker. Learning English is a journey, and like any journey, it can sometimes feel long and challenging. There are days when everything seems easy, and other days when you feel stuck. Staying motivated is the key to pushing through those tough moments and continuing to improve. I learned that the secret to motivation is celebrating progress, no matter how small. When I first started learning English, I set small goals for myself. For example, I decided to learn 5 new words every week. Each time I reached my goal, I felt proud and motivated to keep going. I wrote those words in a notebook and used them in sentences like, "The sky is beautiful today," or "I enjoy reading books." Seeing my progress gave me the energy to keep learning. For example, if I practiced speaking for 10 minutes every day for a week, I watched my favorite movie or enjoyed a special snack. Rewards made learning feel like an achievement, not a chore. If you enjoy these tips, subscribe to our channel for more guidance and encouragement to help you reach your English goals. Finding inspiration in others also kept me going. I watched videos and read stories about people who successfully learned English. Hearing about their experiences gave me hope and showed me that it's possible to become fluent with time and effort. Their stories reminded me that everyone starts as a beginner, but persistence leads to success. It's important to remember that learning English takes time. I used to feel frustrated when I didn't improve as quickly as I wanted. But I learned to be patient with myself. Progress doesn't happen overnight, but every small effort counts. Tracking progress is a powerful way to stay motivated. I kept a journal where I wrote about my English journey. Every week, I noted the new words I learned, the sentences I practiced, and the conversations I had. Looking back at my journal made me realize how far I had come. It reminded me that even small steps bring big results over time. Another way to stay motivated is to reward yourself. When I completed a goal, I gave myself a treat. Even if I only learned one word or practiced for 5 minutes, I was still moving forward. Staying connected to your purpose is another way to stay motivated. I often reminded myself why I wanted to learn English. For me, it was to communicate with people from different countries, watch movies without subtitles, and travel confidently. Thinking about these goals gave me the strength to keep learning, even on difficult days. Having fun while learning made a big difference. I discovered that I loved learning English through music and games. Singing along to songs and playing word puzzles didn't feel like studying. It felt like playtime. When learning is enjoyable, it's easier to stay motivated. Another thing that helped was surrounding myself with English. I changed my phone settings to English, wrote my shopping list in English, and labeled items in my house with English words. These small actions made English a part of my daily life, and practicing became natural. Finally, I learned to celebrate every achievement, no matter how small. Whether it was understanding a full sentence, having a short conversation, or finishing a book, I celebrated my progress. These celebrations reminded me of how far I had come and encouraged me to keep going. Learning English is a journey that requires dedication and patience. Staying motivated, setting goals, and tracking your progress can make the journey easier and more enjoyable. Every word you learn and every sentence you speak is a step toward fluency. Keep going, and remember, you're doing amazing.